Welcome back, Soul Family. Today's transmission enters sensitive and sacred ground, the intimate realm of our bodies, our energy, and the freedom to fully feel and express. In conversation with the Pashas, we move into deeper awareness of our sacral centers, the patterns that bind us, and the powerful flow waiting to be reclaimed. I would like to invite in the Pashas and/or Jedi, if available. Good morning. Good morning, Zay. You are excited to feel our energy more fully. Can I ask if there is an individualized expression I am communicating with? Not until an individualized question is asked. Does it cause any disturbance for me to do so? Depends on what you're asking. I will try to allow flow, but it's perhaps an interesting situation being a receiver, being open, but thinking about what I want to ask. Is there another way I could approach these communications for a more open sharing, less thinking required? Allow thoughts to naturally arise, as they did in your last night's extended meditation experience. Find and hold our energy, our vibration. This will also make it easier for more individualized expression, more unique character to be displayed from us, getting very compatible with our fundamental essence and frequency, feeling into it. It was quality time that you love and desire, correct? Yes, but there's part of me that seeks reassurance. Let go of doubt, any feeling that you're not good enough, for you are, else we would not be here with you. Rejoice, Zay. Yes, I am deeply honored. Feels like I won the galactic lottery. We smile. You said earlier you feel as good as you have ever felt in this life. The next step, you wonder, is how to go beyond, plus ultra. Rome wasn't built in a day. We were about to say the pyramids, but we don't wish to go into that just yet, and so we will choose the more common expression. Although the pyramids, or a pyramid, represents a more accurate building technique of what we are trying to achieve here. To build the pyramid, you either have to start solely with the foundation, or if it is solid, extend it outwards and upwards as you go. What we are getting at is, you are aware of the foundational things that will improve your lifestyle, your energy, your well-being, and additionally, this contact. Yes, I'm excited to do these things, to get these other positive daily habits flowing, this last bit of work to do. I really have been accomplishing a lot, it's just been a slow going. I'll be done with that soon. Then the material objects fall into a state of maintenance. My days, the world, time opens up to me, with nicer weather to boot. Your exploration of greater energies is one of discovery. We do not wish to influence too strongly of what energy should feel like, just to provide a brief example of how you do have a greater capacity. It will be nice with the incoming weather to be naked more often, exploring the energy flow and not being bashful. What is your perspective of this thought of not being bashful? It is an expression of energy, after all. It doesn't need to be anything forced, maintained, or contrived. Perhaps consider the different definitions for arousal. You may see or think about different ways to utilize and balance this energy. There is also some making peace with yourself to be had, we recognize. I am concerned of it being a rude gesture, some would say, in the extreme. It depends on the energy, the intent behind it. If it is your intent to be rude, or other ulterior motives, especially if it comes from a place of power over others. Right. For me now, it feels like, well, obviously I can have no power over you, and I have no intention of being rude. I love and honor you, my family. It's rather that this is an area of where I feel much repressed, and that the human race is very much repressed in this area as a whole. So I intend to break free of this, and I'm curious to explore the new boundaries as they are laid out before me. It's funny for me to think about, though, how charged would us humans be in this way, how charged are other beings in this way, if we weren't keeping ourselves in such a state of depletion and repression. You are curious what it is like for us, Pashas? The energy, well, there's certainly no hiding it with us, but it is of a more pure form, being that it is not as confined, constrained, or labeled. Also, we do not have built-up attachments to that or any energy. We have learned to flow and exist in that space. It's the energy that we radiate. Find this more balanced, radiant state of being an expression of energy. You are exploring building a higher state of sacral energy for foundational energy building and creative purposes. This may at times express as arousal. Let go of that feeling of awkwardness. For what is awkwardness but feeling uncomfortable with oneself? Trust that you will be able to navigate the greater unfolding energies, that you can get more comfortable and familiar with them without feeling a constant need to dispense of said energy. It seems that more exercise, dropping more into my body, could help too. Yes, realize you still have expressions of stuck energy, held behind walls of past feelings, programming, and judgment. And yet here we have been able to talk to you through this higher level communication while... And yes, I'm curious, how do you call it? A state of fullness? Though not really, it is, we explore the energy. Yes, I'm curious if you have some perspectives that could help me remove hindrances and blockages to this energy, allowing it to be more open, flow more freely, and move about the body. Part of the constraint is your manner of thinking about it. You may awake in the morning and feel this natural wholeness with no classification of intent, for it did not arise out of a desire or contrived expression. Seems harder to convey that if the same arises in the daytime waking hours. This is just familiarity and practice. Us Pashas, we are quite naked by comparison without even the physical form, though we could assimilate one, but that acts as a barrier of expression. So it's like I could just stop focusing on the physical form, but focus on the energy. We would say that the energy needn't be focused on. In a way, your attention to it is creating the problem. Consider how you can open up to the flow of this energy without thinking it through in any way. Allowing a freer flowing expression. I have to admit that does feel good, being freer. For you felt now, when you stop withholding the energy behind clothing or modesty, the energy is allowed to flow better through your whole being. You don't need to be modest, just be. Be your full expression when it is allowed. Thank you for allowing, helping me grow more comfortable with finding this energy and this flow. I also recognize how my questioning about a more individualized expression of yourselves would have in fact been a hindrance in talking about this matter. Yes, for in that way we would be limiting the energies down, limiting the communication. It can be okay to explore the more individualized expressions and character at times, but these foundational teachings take precedence, as you are beginning to see. I find it funny that in our connections with higher, many feel shame when it comes to their sexual expressions. Yes, this is a much humanity-wide programming, but it's something you and others can break free of. We see your desire to begin to break down these barriers and the repressive programming and stigmas with it. Recognize that you are building your energy mostly from the foundation up. In your connection with Jedi, you did acknowledge that you felt partway the sacral, which would need to be more completed before moving on to the energy centers of confidence and love. Find peace within yourself of your energy, your expression, your body. It is foundational to building that confidence, which will continue to allow for the higher energies. Thank you. I am feeling much better about this. It's certainly helping to tear down that wall. Yes, there are walls that have been built up, and you are in a state of needing to expand beyond those old walls. You can build new ones, new boundaries, learning the extent of what is available, what can be appropriate around others, around society. This can be a communication, a conversation, a feeling into when you are around others, rather than having a hard and fast set of rules prearranged for yourself. Is it really sexual interaction that you seek? It's freedom that I seek, a falling into a natural flow of energy and love, a sharing with others, wanting to hug, cuddle, nuzzle, see eye to eye with, hold tender, soft conversations with others, holding hands, touching, sharing energy. Yes. And you are asking about us. We are, in our state of evolution, more open to sharing, experiencing greater expressions of these things and more, greater expressions of energy and love, without attachment of a sexual stigma. Your mind wanders to wondering about porn. Yes, as you have increasingly felt, most of it is a negative influence designed to have a negative psychological and energetic impact, an addiction that keeps people, especially men, down. You wonder about the furry, anthropomorphic art variety as comparison. You have seen better examples within this, and also worse. On one hand, these are opportunities to explore different scenarios and feelings you otherwise would not be able to, different mental constructs in particular, and the emotions and feelings that stem from them. There is also the art aspect, or the fantasy example given of characters that are more full of energy as you wish to be able to express. So some of these can be positive examples if utilized in the right way. That is, find examples that you like and use those examples to raise yourself up. Connect with the positive energies you feel and explore integrating these examples into your character as you wish to express. Can I ask what it's like in Pasha culture in relation to sexuality? Things are more open in our species, so there's a greater sharing of feelings, of energies, and intimacy. It allows energy to flow, so it doesn't create the same issues that are seen on Earth. Homosexuality on Earth being to a large extent a response to the repression of male bonding, but also because of the separation of male and female. Here we don't have those problems. Things are more open and consistent. There is no need here for deviance to balance out equations or to act as counterpoints. We would say, in regard to your thinking of Ra's response to homosexuality being misaligned, it's more how the common expression and experience were misaligned, the need for it to be overtly sexual. There's nothing wrong with expressing love, but keep it true in its form, the natural expression of energies. Do not try to bend it to your will. Thank you. I feel this is a good place to end on. opening up to a peaceful and loving flow of energetic expression through this vessel.